read you these words. Proclaim liberty throughout all the land, and to all the inhabitants of it. And you know what that person tried to convince us as members of Congress? That the designers of the bell and the founding fathers that approved it just liked the words, but their affection was not for where it came from. They just liked the way it sounded. To water down the fact that Washington himself claimed it is impossible to govern a people apart from God and the Bible. I just, and that just, it is what it is. It is what it is. Not a coincidence that they went and got Leviticus 25:10. They knew it. They knew that verse was there. And they knew what they were doing when they put it on the top of that Liberty Bell. And it chaps me to know that a person that our tax dollars are paying stood there and tried to blow that theory. Yeah, that was irritating. You had a question. And then I'll come back.
You can trust the government, though, because that tour guide works for the government, right?
Well, they do. And let me say this: I think that I think that you should always be weary. I mean, I have people that trust me as an individual, but I still say to them, you must never stop holding your officials accountable. And if someone doesn't have something to hide, they don't have a problem with accountability. It's the people that have something to hide that have a problem with accountability. Yes, you have a question.
Going back to the gas prices, we hear a lot about big oil subsidies. The government is not subsidizing. That's just tax breaks that they're taking that every other entity gets. Is that not true?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, I'll give you an example. Google, okay, who is very much in the president's corner. Google, who is obviously as is Microsoft, they receive subsidies. Okay, but you hear nothing about the president, proclaiming, hey, we've got to. No, what the subsidies that the oil companies are receiving are for research and development. That gives them an opportunity. So I would say this: want to end subsidies, end them all. But again, no, and we're not. Well, we're going. No, wait a minute. We're going to pick and choose winners. Remember this: the president is incredibly consistent. Incredibly consistent at showing favoritism and picking and choosing winners. Whether it's Libya, whether it's Ford, whether it's Southerland, doesn't matter. Picking and choosing winners. Very consistent. Amazingly so. Yes, ma'am.
So what is the practical way to fight these things? What would really work?
Run for Congress. That's what I did. Not everybody can do that. Okay? But everybody can do something. Okay? Because here's what we got to do. We got to take our country back. Because here's what's going to happen. The politics as usual has got to change. This young man over here is taking this video. Now, in my first election, they started filming me on May 5th. May 5th. And we'll get very close. We'll spend a lot of time together. Because he'll continue to film me until November. And the closer we get to November and he continues to show up means they have nothing. But what they'll do is they'll take this video and they'll take my 2-minute response to your question and they're going to find 2 or 3 words in a 3 or 4 second clip. And they're going to cut that out. And then they're going to make an ad and do something where I'm saying just the opposite of what I believe. Is that integrity? Is it? It's what?
Hate.
It's hate. That's your interpretation of that? What other words? You got any other? What is that?
Duplicity.
Well, look, I don't think, and let me say this, I want to be very clear. I'm not in favor of anyone doing that. There's right and there's wrong. I'm not in favor of the Republican Party doing that. I'm not in favor of an independent doing that. I'm not in favor of a Democrat doing that. There's right and there's wrong. Pastor, are there any passages of Scripture from Genesis 1 to the maps in the back that just apply to Republicans? No. They apply to all of us. So until we say, we want better, we demand better, we expect better, and we're going to hold you accountable to better. And if you don't, there will be consequences. So I think that, but the American people determine that. We get the type of government we demand. We do.
That's why we're asking you what you want to do. We're trying to hold.
I'm sorry?
That's why it's so bad. We have not demanded
That's right.
that they be honest.
Yeah, no, you're doing it. People, I'm seeing, to answer your question, I'm seeing an awakening. I'm seeing an awakening. I'm seeing people that are engaged. People that are realizing that they've got to do their homework, that they've got to read, that they've got to take ownership of their citizenship. They've got to take ownership of their plight. You want a bright future? Then create it. And so what we're doing, everybody can do something. Okay? Everybody can educate their neighbors. Everybody can educate their foursome that they play golf with or their fishing buddies. You know, are there people that are not voting? Everyone should vote. I'm not going to tell you how to vote. I'm just saying that everyone should have the responsibility and fulfill that responsibility of voting and letting their voice heard. So we've got to get America engaged. And I'm seeing more and more of that. People are becoming enlightened and they're acting on that. I can't tell them as an official how they should respond, but I'm saying that one thing you can't do, you can't ignore your civic responsibility. Your responsibility as a citizen of this country. And so, you know, if you have a cause or a person or that you believe in, get behind them. Not everybody can run for Congress. Not everybody can do that. But everybody can do something.
Well, you know what I see as...
I'm coming. You're next. You're
As we
next.
study the candidates, sometimes we see where a candidate has voted for something that we feel is really not the right thing, something that he should not have voted for or she should not have voted for. And we hear, well, it was just tied up in this bigger thing that I needed to support. And this is what is bothersome, you know, is that when a bill is presented, I feel that the issues that are in that bill should all be contained to the subject of that bill. And things that are not related to that bill should not be thrown in there because then you are voting for...
Well, it's called single subject. And I agree with you that a bill should be able to stand or fall on its own merit. And I'm aggravated with that. And being new to the legislature, the legislative process, that is something that drives me crazy because I can take a bill that I agree with, and then once it is jam-packed with 90% of stuff that I disagree with, I'm not voting on the same bill.
You have more amendments in there that
Yeah.
deal with things that
Yeah.
that the bill does not.
That's right. That's right. And that's aggravating. That's aggravating. So, sure.
Representative Southerland, I due to the internet now, I've seen every vote that you made since you've been in Congress, and I'm very proud of it. I wish you'd been there 8 years before you were. But the national news media and the way they slant everything, I sit and watch it over and over, that they are trying to lead the American public the way they want people to think. And it don't matter whether it's immigration or whether it's the tragedies and trying to get our oil supply and they can influence so many people in this country with misleading things. That's our biggest problem that we got right now is the news media.
Well, I agree, and I think that I'll give you an example of how the news media, and you see it subtly every day. Last year, the Senate voted on the president's budget. Now, Senator Harry Reid would not bring a Senate budget to the floor. He didn't bring a budget in 2010. He didn't bring a budget in 2011. He didn't bring a budget for 2012. And a month and a half ago, he made the announcement that he had no intention of bringing forth a budget for 2013. Now, we owe $16 trillion, the largest economy in the world, and the leader of the Senate says, I have no intention of bringing forth a budget. But during that vote, the Senate, which at the day the vote was taken, had 97 members present. Not a single vote was cast for the president's budget. Not one. It was defeated 97-0. Now the same week, the House voted on the Republican budget. And it was passed. Front page of the paper, above the fold, okay, was discussing the House budget and attacking it from all different angles and trying to destroy it, cut it, and demonize it, and do all the things that the media can do when it doesn't believe in something in its interest. But nowhere, not in the comics, not in the obit section, not in lifestyles, lawn and garden, nowhere could you find any comment that the president's budget went down 97-0. He did not get one Democratic vote for his own budget in the Senate. Newsworthy? It is certainly not the right of the news media not to present it.
It's not news.
Well, let me say this. I think that's up for the readers to determine. I think that when the president's budget goes down 97-0, and by the way, we brought the president's budget before the House last week. Now, because the Democrat there was not a single person on the Democratic side that would sponsor the bill to bring it to the floor. A Republican brought it forward. Because we wanted to vote on it. So, Mick Mulvaney of South Carolina introduced it on the floor. It went down 414-0. Not one Democrat in the House of Representatives voted in support of the president's budget. Not one. So let me just make sure that you hear the facts, because you're not going to get those from ABC, CBS, NBC, and oftentimes you're not going to get the facts from perhaps many cable networks. Let me get this straight. The president's budget gets not one Democrat Senate vote in the Senate, and it gets not one Democrat vote in the House of Representatives. Harry Reid didn't vote for the president's budget. Nancy Pelosi didn't vote for the president's budget. Are we to take him seriously when his own party doesn't? That's just, you determine the facts. I'm just reporting them to you. You determine. Because the mainstream media, the elite media, will not. That's an example of how they